Hey, Shalom. This is YAHAWAH with the GMS Dallas camp. First off, I want to give all praises to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach real well. And salutations to the Akim scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, keeping the word in truth and sincerity. I just want to go into a topic, going into what we had discussed at camp, this last Tuesday, pretty much concerning the Israelite foreigners, because a lot of people, especially in these churches, get it all mixed up, what I'm saying? Just because it says, everybody can be saved doesn't necessarily mean everybody can be saved, what I'm saying? Because it says that whoever believeth in the name of Jesus Christ, it can be saved, not knowing that they're blowing it out of context. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to read the scriptures and get the understanding in these different precepts, to put it all in perspective on what it's really talking about. Okay? So I'm going to start off with Ephesians chapter 2, right? Verse 11. It says, "Wherefore remember that ye, being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, were called uncircumcision by that which is called a circumcision made in the flesh by hands," right? So you had the the Jews, the Pharisees and the scribes and all them that were keeping the law, what I'm saying, or so-called keeping the law, and keeping them customs of Israel. They were known as the circumcision, and them Israelites who weren't keeping the law of the were being called of the uncircumcision. Okay, so if you read that in the beginning of that first verse, "Wherefore remember that ye being in the time past Gentiles in the flesh," I'm saying, because Israel, ultimately the Most High had put us away, for going off, being wicked, and serving or following after other gods. Okay. There was so much that the Most High could take until He finally said, "You know what? I'm gonna put you." He gave us a bill of divorcement. You can go to Jeremiah chapter 3, man. He said that He had given us a bill of divorcement, for the wickedness and of Judah and the treachery of his sister Israel. Okay. I'm not gonna get it right now, but just read Jeremiah the 3rd chapter, and it goes into that. You can also go to Hosea chapter 1, starting at verse 8, where it says that He said that you will no longer, that you are not my people. But in that same place where it says you are not my people, you shall be the sons of the living power. Okay. But first I want to first off I want to focus on this. Okay, it says continue on this. This is verse 12. Okay, so we understand now that the Most High have put us away for going off and whoring after other gods, committing that spiritual fornication, worshiping other idols and different things like that, and all and ultimately going off and turning our backs on the law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High has set up for us, because that was part of the curses. Okay, the Most High, gave us a list of curses, which you can start off with what in Deuteronomy 28 verse 15. He said that all these things shall come upon you. You know what I'm saying? If you choose not to follow His law, His ways, the ways of YAHAWASHI. He said, and one of those curses was us being scattered, throughout the whole world, and being spread out in these different nations. Okay. It was all part of that curse. All part of us going off, being put away, and through YAHAWASHI, we have that opportunity to be reconciled with the adopted back into that into that circle with Yahweh, through YAHAWASHI. Okay, so this is going. So I'm gonna explain it here in Ephesians chapter 2, right? So I'm gonna start off verse 12. That at that time you were without Mashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without the Most High in the world, man. And that's true. We were without hope. You know what I'm saying? We were like the other nations at some point. But with the Hawashai, man, we've been brought. We have that opportunity to be brought back into that circle, right? Because if you read that again, right, in that verse 12, it says that at that time ye were without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without the Most High in the world, right? I want to focus on the word aliens, right? Ye were without Christ, being aliens. Okay, so we're going to get the understanding on that word aliens, right? It says it's in the Greek, it's apolotreo, right? And it means to alienate, estrange, to be shut out from one's fellowship and intimacy, man. And who was it that happened to, man? The nation of Israel, man. Okay. As a matter of fact, fuck it, man. Let's get it real quick. It's like it. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay. It's all right here, but I want to start off at. Give me one sec. Okay, here we go. You can really start off. You can really start off at the top. But I'm going to start at verse 6. The Lord said also unto me in the days of Josiah the king, hast thou seen that which backsliding Israel had done? She has gone up upon every high mountain and under every green tree, and there hath played the harlot. And I said, after she had done all these things, turn thou unto me. But she turned not, and her treacherous sister Judah saw it. And I saw when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot, man. So yeah, the Most High had given us that bill of divorcement. He had put us away for all the backsliding that we had and all the adultery. You know what I'm saying? And it goes on, man. It says, and it came to pass through the lightness of her whoredom that she defiled the land and committed adultery with stones and with stocks. And yet for all this, her treacherous sister Judah had not turned unto me with her whole heart, but feignedly saith the Lord. And the Lord said unto me, the backsliding Israel had justified herself more than treacherous Judah, man. And you keep on reading, man. And the Most High explains all the things that, why he had given that bill of divorcement. You know what I'm saying? But there's another point. Okay, verse 13 right here. It says, only acknowledge thine iniquity, that thou hast transgressed against the Lord thy power, and hast scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree, and ye have not obeyed my voice, saith the Lord. It says married. Okay, here we go. Verse 14. Turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a famine. I will bring you to Zion, and I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding, man. Let's see, God, and it goes into, into what ultimately the future that lays hold for Israel, man. But I want to touch on is that whole Most High pointing us away and giving us up to the hands of our enemies for going off and ultimately, scattering us throughout all the nations. You know what I'm saying? Because if you go to let's see, okay, let's get the one in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse real quick. Let's see verse 27. Let's see, okay, yeah, verse 20. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, where the Lord shall lead you. And there ye shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. You know what I'm saying? So the Most High, he had told us that he was going to scatter us throughout the whole world amongst the other nations, right? And it's also in the curses. If you go to over to Deuteronomy 28, all the way down, verse 64, right? And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth, even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve the other gods which neither ye nor your fathers have known, even wood and stone, man. Because that was, the Most High promised that he would do that if we went off, right? Start at verse 13. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee, man. And all those curses did have come upon us, man, even to this day. And it's evident, what people those curses have cleaved onto. Okay? So okay, we have established that the nation of Israel was going to be scattered throughout all the nations. From the Greeks to the Romans to even today to to amongst the so-called white people, and over there and all these different other nations, in Mexico, all the way, Canada, the Middle East, Asia, Africa. The Most High scattered us everywhere amongst these other nations. Okay, those are the Gentiles that the scriptures is talking about when it comes to salvation, man. Those Israelite foreigners, that were scattered throughout the whole world. Okay, because if you go to John, let's see, where is John? John 7. It tells you right here. Watch. First I'm going to start off with what Yahawashi said, right? It says, Then said Yahawashi unto them, Yet a little while I am with you, and then I go unto him that sent me. Ye shall seek me, and ye shall not find me, and where I am, thither ye cannot come. Then said the Jews among themselves, Whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles, and teach the Gentiles? Right, so they said, where is he going to go? Is he going to go amongst the dispersed, those Israelite foreigners that are among the Gentiles? And how do you know that? And how do we know that that's talking about Israelite foreigners that were scattered amongst the Gentiles, amongst the other nations, right? Because it's going to tell you right here. And then I also have a precept in Isaiah, which I'm going to get after I get this word. Dispersed, right, which is in the Greek diaspora. Okay, it says a scattering, dispersion of Israelites dispersed among foreign nations, on this Christian scattered about among the Gentiles. Okay, so look, it says of Israelites dispersed among foreign nations. So we just read that in Deuteronomy chapter 4 and Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 64, where it says that the Most High was going to scatter us amongst the other nations, right? And we just read the definition in the Greek on the word dispersed in John 7, 7 and 35, where it says that will he go amongst the dispersed amongst the Gentiles? Okay, we got all that, right? Now let's go to the prophecy, right? Let's go straight to prophecy, because the Most High, had already written this, that this was going to happen, right? So okay, remember all that. The word diaspora in the Greek, meaning that talking about the dispersed the Israelites dispersed amongst the other nations. And Deuteronomy 4 and Deuteronomy chapter 28, talking about that the Most High was going to scatter us amongst all nations for going off, not following the law, statutes, commandments, right? So this is Isaiah 11. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. Okay? And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea. Okay, so it's giving you all this list of different nations, right? And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcast of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so this is telling you right there, man, that the Most High was going, in those days, in these days, the last days that we in right now, that the Most High was going to gather the outcast of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth, man. Talking about those Israelite foreigners. Okay, so now let's go back to, well, let's get that word. Actually, I just want to see what that word means. Okay, to shatter, shattering, to dash, to scatter, disperse, to overspread, be scattered. Okay, now let's see what that other word means. The outcast, right? Outcast, to be thrust down, to overflow, better, to drive away or out. You know, which is what happened to Israel, man. We were driven out of that circle, man, of that, you know, the Most High had given us that bill of divorcement. Okay, so let's go back to let's see, Ephesians 2 and finish that off. Let's see, start at verse 12 again. That at that time we were without Mashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope without Yahawah in the world, man. You know, so we were alienated. Like it says right there, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, man. So we were cast out of that special intimacy that we had with the Most High, right? But now in Mashiach, YAHAWASHI, ye who sometimes were afar off are made nigh by the blood of Mashiach, man. You know, so through the blood of YAHAWASHI, man, and him putting himself on that cross and dying for the sins of Israel, man, we have that opportunity, we have that opening to be brought back into that fold, okay? For he is our peace, who hath made both one, and hath broken down the middle wall of partition between us, man. And what was that middle wall of partition, man? It was that invisible wall between us and Yahweh. You know, so Yahawashi had torn that down to where we're able to be made nigh to the Most High through him. Okay. Verse 15, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments contained in ordinances, for to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace, and that he might reconcile both unto the Most High in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby, and came and preached peace to you which were afar off, and to them that were nigh. For through him we both have access by one Spirit unto the Father. Now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of Yahweh. Okay, so hey, through the blood of Yahawah, man, we're able to be brought back in that fold. Because remember, all them the precepts that we brought out, talking about how the Most High had divorced us and put us away. And then Ephesians chapter 2, verse 12, talking about us being afar off and being aliens of the commonwealth of Israel. Okay, we were aliens. We were cast out of that circle. You know, and we were without Hamashiach, of, you know, being afar off. You know, but hey, you know, Lord willing, brothers, we're edified. Got a little something out of this, you know. With that, I'm gonna say shalom.